Hi, this is Rob G, and welcome to Savvy. Today I want to talk to you about 3 ways to get into your creative space. Now, I know that if you're a creative type, a lot of times you're under pressure, you're under deadline to come up with a creative idea practically on demand. And if you're a true creative, you probably feel that, hey, I can't just summon creativity. Creativity can't be, it's not like you go to a jar, uncap it, and get yourself a heaping handful of creativity. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you have to be hit with inspiration. Sometimes inspiration hits you at the oddest times. Maybe you're one of those people who in the shower, you get your best ideas. Or some people in the middle of the night. Have you ever woken up at 3 a.m. With a great idea just hits you in the middle of your sleep, and you have to write it down real fast so that in the morning you can actually see if it was a good idea or just a flash of idiocy. But that's actually happened to me. I actually came up with a great idea for a logo one time. After thinking about it for a couple of days, I did wake up at 3 a.m. and I had an idea, and I just grabbed my iPad and I just quickly sketched it out right on there with my finger. I went right back to sleep. And the next morning I woke up and actually it was a really good idea, and it ended up, the client loved it and is still using it. So sometimes it does work out. But being creative on the fly or on demand or at will, it's not easy, but it can be done. And I want to talk to you about the 3 ways that you can make that happen. The first way is your energy. Now, if you're like me, when your energy is high, your creative juices are flowing naturally. You've got lots of ideas. You can talk to yourself. You can control your thoughts better. You're not busy fighting lack of sleep. You're not feeling depleted because maybe you haven't eaten. And some of the things you can do are along those lines of amping up your energy. I'm typically a low energy person. So some of the things I have to do on purpose in order to get that energy high. One of those things is you want to eat energy foods. Just go online and Google it, top foods for creating energy. You'll see things in there, from eating almonds to eating certain carbs for quick energy, but the right carbs, a mixture of these kinds of things. A little bit of caffeine if you like, maybe a little coffee always helps. Not too much, everything in moderation. But eating right is definitely one of the ways where you can keep longer periods of creativity flowing. Okay? The next one, look for inspiration in your favorite places. One of the greatest places that I love to go to is my Instagram feed. And I follow people who are in the visual creative field, and I look at the work they're doing. And sometimes just looking at other people's work, even if it's not my style or if it's not fitting the particular project that I'm working on, I will still get inspired because I'll think about something that maybe I wasn't thinking about, or at least it will get me thinking about maybe how they produced a particular logo or came up with a certain a branding element of some sort that just gets my mind thinking, wow, that's pretty cool. How did they do that? Maybe dissect it. And by that dissection, you'll actually get your mind thinking about the creation of it. So one of the couple, if you're into logos, Logo Inspirations on Instagram. This guy's phenomenal. He is a craftsman at creating logos, and he'll show you exactly in a snapshot or two how he created it. Very geometrically, very almost scientifically. Just a master at what he does. And you can check some of those out. There's others on there as well. Just hashtags, logo and inspiration, and you'll come up with a whole bunch on your own. But follow those kinds of people. Here's another one. Know what time of day you have the highest level of energy. Have you ever met a morning person where you wake up with them for some reason at 6 or 7, and while you are struggling just to put one foot in front of the other, that person they're talking to you, they're asking you questions, and they're laughing, and they're smiling, and they're bouncing through. That's not me, okay? But I live with somebody like that. My wife is like that. I got to keep reminding her, I love you, but I can't talk to you and answer questions early in the morning. I'm just not ready. So maybe morning is your best time. And if morning is your best time, then take advantage of it. and wake up a little earlier, go through your morning routine and get right to creating. Because if your mind is just fertile at that point, tap into it, harness it, take advantage of the moment, strike while the iron is hot and get creative at that time. For me, it's usually sometime mid-morning, mid to late morning is best for me, but I'm better off sometimes in the evening too. So there's 2 times a day where I know I'm gonna have peak energy, and after a while you get to know at times, 8:30, I know I have a dip in energy. Guess what? I'm not doing anything creative at 8:30. I just can't do it. There's a natural dip in my energy because I understand my body, and I'll just do something else that is more mindless to get something done until that passes, or I'll bridge the gap some other way. Second one, location. Some people will play this down, but this is huge. If you have to be creative, sometimes you have a certain place that you need to be, or a place you like to go that just makes you feel more in the creative spirit of things. As entrepreneurs, you're building your business, and there's so many aspects to building your business that sometimes if you have to wear the operations director hat, you have to sit at a desk and you have to sit with a spreadsheet, or you have to sit with a task list and you have to write things out, and maybe sitting at a desk is best. But when you have to be creative and you actually have to get into that mode, maybe sitting at a desk doesn't feel right for that. Perhaps you have a favorite comfortable chair that you just like to flop yourself on, and let the creative juices start flowing there. Is it a particular room in your house? Is there maybe a small unused bedroom, or a small little room that's just not being used for anything actually, and there's nothing in there, and you just want to go sit in the middle of the floor and just let the creative juices start bubbling up? Do you need to go outside? Do you need to be with nature and just maybe take a walk down a nice wooded path and let nature kind of put you in the mindset of coming up with new ideas? Everybody's different, but the thing is, you just got to find what works for you. Maybe whoever you're following online or whoever you're learning from, see what they do and get some ideas from them as well if you're having trouble locating the place where creativity happens for you. And actually, this is really kind of strange, but if you're following me, I have a regular day job as I have my pursuit. I don't say on the side and I don't say at night. It's not on the side, it's a full-time endeavor. And it's all other times that I'm not on my job. But when I'm driving there to the office, it's about 45 minutes to an hour. And honestly, sometimes I'm listening to music, and sometimes I am learning from somebody through a podcast or a video. I'm not watching the video, I'm just listening, so don't get freaked out. But I will do some of my best thinking on that drive, because my subconscious mind is getting me to the office because I do it every day, so I don't have to think about the direction to go. And so it actually frees up my conscious mind to think about things that come up with new ideas, to think through some ideas maybe I've been working on. And for some reason, a lot of inspiration hits me there. So, maybe it's driving in a car, maybe it's walking through a wooded path, maybe it's just sitting in a room in your favorite chair. But know that location, and then purposely go there when you need to be creative. Okay, here's the third thing. Just get started. Simply do something. The whole act of just starting is, I think the quote is, getting started is half done. So just simply sitting down to say, start sketching. If you're coming up with a logo idea, or you need to have some kind of visual you're coming up with, maybe just get out your pad and your pencils and just start sketching anything. Just start with some circles and just start swirling around. And actually that has been scientifically proven, if you just doodle, that it gets your brain in a state of creativity. And that will get you on the path towards coming up with some new ideas. How about compiling some visuals? I talked earlier about Instagram and looking at logo inspirations and other visual inspirations. Just looking at other people's work will give you some more creativity. But if you're in a particular project, maybe you're gathering and compiling some visuals that will inspire you, or that or maybe you're putting together a stylescape and you need to compile visuals to round out that particular style that you're working on for that brand, that client, whatever. But compile the relevant visuals to that. And just by looking and compiling, it's gonna get those juices flowing and it's gonna get you in a more creative state. How about assembling the colors and fonts for whatever project you're working on? Sometimes just looking at a gallery of different colors, colors, they have meaning. They emote a certain feeling. Purple is a color of royalty and richness, of trust. Blue is also of trust. And so these colors have different effects on our emotions. So just by looking at different palettes that might coordinate with the project you're working on, well, then that will also just get you going and just get you started. So, looking at different fonts, this goes along with part of the visuals that you're just looking at for inspiration, but specifically compiling them for the project you're working on gets you already going into the mode of that project. So just start looking at fonts, just start looking at colors, and then what happens is your mind starts bringing you down the path towards the goal of what you're trying to hit with completing that project. So those are 3 top ways you can get into creative space. But what I want to do is I want to hear from you. I want to know what you do specifically that gets you into creative space, that helps you summon the creativity when maybe you're not feeling so creative. So stick your comments down below, hit the subscribe button, and tune in here regularly. I've got new videos going up every week on the topics of design and business and entrepreneurship. But I want to hear from you. And listen, this is Rob G. I want you to remember, always be learning, always stay savvy. Thanks for watching.